I'm reading an article in, once again, my favorite Buddhist magazine, Tricycle. It's called Winter Light. Old Age Brings an Unexpected Intensity of Experience by Douglas Pinnick. And it has me thinking about aging as we grow older. And here's the thing, even a young person, however one would define young, is getting older. Every day we are becoming older. And the body changes. And it is this subtle sneaking up on us kind of reality, because we go from youth to maturity and all of the adventures that come, and then things start to shift. At 50, I think the shift may be subtle, and perhaps for someone else of the same age, maybe not so subtly, right? Gratitude for when certain things are subtle. Gratitude for that, because otherwise they come quickly and we may not be ready. And even with the subtlety, there's a deep reckoning around change. And I'm thinking about you. How are you changing through time? And I'm asking that question in this instance from a physical place. How are you changing through time? Do you notice your body shifting? Your mobility, your movement, your stretching, flexibility, dexterity, cognition, memory. How are you noticing difference, and what does that feel like? Impermanence is real. The nature of impermanence is deep and wide, because we do not remain the same. We, on a Monday, let's just say, we can look in the mirror and we appear one way to ourselves, and come Friday, we're a completely different person, and it sneaks up on us. We're not necessarily ready for the changes. How do you deal with the changes? Is there grace and compassion and acceptance? Is there resistance, denial, dismissal, angst and anxiety as you become older? How do we settle into the changes? How do we meet ourselves when the wisdom begins to show on our face and in our bodies, in our minds? There is a loss and a grief to that. Many people grow older with grief. The grief of getting older and the changes that result. Especially if it's one of those, I can no longer do this. I wish I could still do that. I remember sometimes when we dwell on the yesteryears, it causes great suffering and angst and dissatisfaction and dis-ease, discomfort, grief. And the sad part about dwelling on the yesteryears, when we dwell from the place of loss as we change, is we're kind of abandoning ourselves. We're not holding where we are because we're still trying to hold on to where we were. So what becomes of our evolution then? What becomes of our growing forward? Because one thing that I recognize with age is a level of just settling into myself. There's beauty in that. And any expectation around looking in the mirror and thinking I'm going to look the way I did on Monday and now it's Friday, well, that's an illusion. And again, I'm saying Monday to Friday with the thought in mind that many years have passed. It's an illusion to think that I'm going to remain how I was. So how might I look into being now and meet that and feel the yes of not really caring as much? I mean, of course, there's great care. And the need to appease or fit in or wondering and worrying about other people's thoughts, ideas, notions, which honestly, that's not been me in general, but it's really not now, right? Because of course we care. But as we get older, there's a settling into ourselves. And many people speak of that, where you start to care less. Because life is fleeting. And at a point, you've kind of done it all. And not all, all is a little big word. But hopefully you're catching what I'm throwing. At a certain point, you're not beginning. You're in the middle already. The second half of the middle. The third quarter, the final act. At a point, it's living in the freedom and the spaciousness of the where we see in our bodies. So when we see or experience the physical changes, hopefully we're also accessing a depth within ourselves that feels a bit freeing. Because we do not have to strive to become, to do, to climb, to reach. But we can actually drop into having arrived somewhere else within ourselves. And not that arriving means we put it in park. But we've arrived at a place of comfort, like our level of comfort with self is just a little more settled in. You want to, be in your garden. I want to sit in my egg chair and just swing and read and sip my coffee or my red wine. It's different, lose myself in a Tricycle magazine article. It's different. And there's beauty to that. And so as we accept the physical changes that come with age and how it sneaks up on us, and then the sort of reconciliation that maybe we have to go through to accept ourselves and the changes, may we also be with gratitude and holding for the beauty that comes with inner contentment. The spaciousness of not having to sort of till the land. But you can sit and look out at the expanse. There's beauty in that. There's peace and quiet and calm in that, even as the body changes. And we have to meet those changes. Let's not skip over it. It's real. Might take a little longer to stand up. Stretch those legs. But there's also the laughter that can come with that reality. Like you've sort of earned that longer stretch. You've earned the pause in getting up. And we find ways to love ourselves well and to care for our bodies and our minds as long as we are able. And just to meet ourselves. It's important to meet ourselves through our changes so that we suffer less and our grief is not there, sort of placed atop a normal process, our aging. May we grieve a little less over that and accept it a little more. Maybe hold the two. Maybe we sort of go back and forth like a seesaw. We rise and fall between grief and acceptance as we meet the changes that come with growing older. And then we sort of twirl and dance in the wisdom and the contentment that comes with it as well. I invite you to give thought to growing older, whatever age you are, as you listen. And even if you're in your 20s, to go beyond where you are in your mind and see what it may feel like in your imagination to add 30 years. How does that even inform your 20s? Because there are seeds being planted along the way. The younger years, it's like the planting of seeds, and then later, are we in bloom? Are we blossoming? Have we been cultivating those seeds? What seeds have we planted? Because as we get older, we're now living the manifestation of that. So I invite you, and I invite myself, to contemplate growing older and what that means to you, what it means to me, how I might want to be with that, what reality I might want, and what if there are some realities that we would not choose, and then how do we meet those as well? With grace, with fear, with resistance, with acceptance. How? So as I sit and continue to read Winterlight, and I think about old age and how, as Douglas said, it brings an unexpected intensity of experience. I want to contemplate my experiences and then be with the unknown of what has not been experienced as of yet. And again, I invite you to sit and be with that. I appreciate you listening. It's like keeping company as we just consider some philosophical things, some spiritual things, the depth of grief and suffering, and just the fullness of our lives. Thank you for your company, your presence, and your ear. Always. It does not fall short on me. And if you feel inclined, share my podcast with somebody. Rate the show. Spread the love. I appreciate you. And I hope you come back around. Truly. I do.